Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This story we are about to go into, this one, who the F did I marry? How she married a man that didn't exist. I think that's what. This story has 104 parts. 104 parts. When are we going to finish this? Let me check the length of it. Hold on, let me check the length. Ooh, 9 minutes. So that means, hey, I can't even come. Hey, God, this is going to be a lot. Are you sure I'm ready for this kind of story? Okay, let's do it, guys. Let's do this. So that means I have to create a playlist. I'll create a playlist and put it in it. I'll be sharing one, just this one part, one part two, because I cannot sit for long and listen to all this. So do it, share it like that. So let's start this. Start
I married
this.
someone who didn't exist and everything.
Let's start from the beginning because okay, let's
I'm going to
start.
be telling the story of how I married someone who didn't exist and everything that happened during that time, from the moment of meeting to our marriage to, well, I should say wedding, not marriage. There wasn't a marriage. To
What was it?
finding out things, uncovering truths, to the moment that I left, and a lot of things still coming to light even after I left. I thought a lot about how I was going to do this, when, or even if I was going to do this. I wrote a book, published it in June. It's a poetry book, and it is a first-hand account of everything that I endured. And I thought that would be enough, like I would stop there. But I think that I'm ready to tell the actual story. I may stumble along the way. I may get emotional. I may be trying to remember details. It's so much that happened in such a short amount of time. The details are very closely packed. And a lot of it is, I mean, it's still really unbelievable to me, and I can't wrap my head around a lot of the things that happened. So I'm going to tell the story, and I'm going to tell it in its full form. I'm going to tell the parts where I looked bad. I'm going to tell the parts where I looked stupid and naive. There's going to probably be a lot of people who judge me or have strong opinions about why I stayed, why didn't I leave after certain events. And the only thing I'm going to say that to start off with is that you don't know what you're going to do until you're in a situation like this yourself. Hopefully no one is ever in a situation like this, but this is my truth and how I experience things. So, for the sake of privacy, I am not going to be using real names in this story. Any names you may hear, they are not going to be real names. I may change a few things throughout the story just to make sure I'm expressing my experience only. I cannot speak for the others that were involved. This is how I perceived what I went through. So, June of last year, 2024, I was dating. Meaning I was like on dating sites. I was really only on one. I was on Facebook dating, which in hindsight is one Nova.
Wait, Facebook has a dating site. This is the first time I'm hearing it. Like there's Facebook dating, like Facebook dating, or is it like all this group where people just stay, groups, different groups? Maybe those Facebook groups, not like Facebook dating sites. I don't even know what I'm asking.
He should ever be on. And I had met a few people, maybe gone out on a few dates. Nothing ever came of it. I was just getting kind of discouraged. I was.
Oh my god, I just remembered. I joined the dating site. What's the name? I think it was last 3 months. After that, I have not gone back there. It was a friend that pushed me to go and do it. I just remember now. Hey, what's it? I'll go and ask her the name again because I can't remember the name of the dating site. She encouraged me to go there because I don't understand how dating site work. To me, it's scary, but I will go back there and go and check. Let me familiarize myself with how it works. You never can tell. Something might come out of it.
I was living in Fort Lauderdale at the time. I was working 2 full-time jobs. I was working for an in-home addiction treatment program, and I also was the supervisor at a dual diagnosis mental health addiction rehab.
Whoa.
So I was working about anywhere between 80 to 100-hour weeks sometimes. Extremely independent. I moved to Florida in 2018 from North Carolina. And when I moved here, I was in a relationship with someone here. We were together for about 5 years. We split up in 2022, the beginning of 2023. And I was single since then. I wasn't seriously involved with anyone. I had a roommate from hell situation for a little bit, and then finally April of last year, I left my roommate and I moved into my own apartment in Fort Lauderdale. So this person who would become my husband, we're going to call him Rob. Rob had liked me on Facebook dating, and I had matched him back. So
Like she has mind. That means there's this Facebook dating site. I'm not aware of it. What does it look like? That maybe for me not to be aware of it. Maybe it doesn't. It's not something that is available for people in Africa. There's a lot of things we don't get to see or hear about in this part of the world. Even when we hear about it, we can't access it. I don't know why. I don't know.
First thing that I noticed from his profile, he seemed very confident. I have a thing for tattoos. He had a lot of them. And I'm almost positive he had something in his bio about being like a single dad, something along those lines. So we started chatting, and immediately the charm was on. Like, he was very flattering, very charming. He was saying all the right things. We had a few really good conversations. On my bio, on my Facebook dating profile, I had been clear with my intentions. I'm dating with purpose. I'm not looking for casual encounters. I'm a substance abuse counselor. I work a lot. So we started having conversations about substance abuse counseling and addiction. And that's when he revealed to me that he was a single dad because he was a widower. I don't know. There's a special word for men. I think it's a widower.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got into that story. He had told me that his wife, the mother of his children, had passed away from a drug overdose 5 years ago or so. At this point when we were speaking, we went into a little bit of that history. He was telling me.
I hope he's not saying that to get empathy from her because she's in that line of work.
Just a little bit about the story, how devastated he was, how, she left behind him and their children, which were 3 girls, and that he was just a single dad trying to make it out here. He had been devastated by her passing, and he didn't think he would ever find that kind of love again. They had been together for such a long amount of time. And at this point, we both knew we were kind of far away from each other. Mind you, like I said, I was in Fort Lauderdale, and he lived about 2.5 hours west of Fort Lauderdale. So he was telling me that he worked in construction, and that...
Guys, there's something I need to ask you guys. For the first time, I'm noticing an accent from an American. I know this is not South. This is not like Texas. They have this drawl. That one is very pronounced. This is not Texas. Those South accent. What is this accent she has? She has accents. I've noticed it.
He owned his own home, and he had like 2 or 3 cars. He had told me that he was just, very successful at this point in his life. He hadn't always been. He did tell me that he had a history with addiction himself, and that he had been in prison previously. He was very upfront about that. That was never hidden. And he told me the reason why he was in prison twice.
Twice. I want to ask a question. What is it with people in America going to prison like it's nothing? See, not like this is not a judgmental. That this is me just being curious. Because in my country, yeah, before you meet somebody that have gone to prison, like you can live your whole life and you don't even know someone that have gone to prison. Maybe it's on social media. You see somebody was arrested. They arrest people a lot. But what I mean is like it's not something that you see people you know that do it. Everybody's trying to live alone because we know that all these people in my country, they are not good people. So we try to stay clear of them because any little thing you do and they catch you, hey, especially if you have money, ah, your name is so. Everybody's trying to make sure that nothing concerns you and them. So when I hear people in America, they say, "Oh, he was out of prison. My boyfriend is in prison." Hey, people have mind though. Mhm. Because to a Nigerian, for you to be in prison, for you to be in prison. Mm.
And then he told me about his addictions and how it progressed, how his addiction was during his marriage to his late wife, how he sought help. He went to a program after prison, got his life together. And now he was successful. He was doing what he needed to do to stay sober, to take care of his family, meaning his daughters. He did talk to me about his mother. He said that he had a very close relationship with her, that she had been there to support him through thick and thin, really. Even when he was in prison, she was there to support him. And he also said that once he became successful and got on his feet, pretty much as a token of gratitude or wanting to take care of his mother, he bought her a house too. So the house that she was currently living in at that time was purchased by him.
Nice.
So I'm going to stop right here and just say I'm a very trusting person naturally. It is a curse, not a blessing. At this point, I had no reason not to believe him. I had no reason to think that he was being fictional, that he was lying. And I am a sucker for a sob story. I love a good underdog story. That is one of my main strengths working in the field that I work in. I just believe in people. And I believe in people who have struggled very greatly. We're almost out of time. We're going to go into part 2.
Okay, time for part 2. Guys, didn't I tell you? What if that man was just cooking up story because of our line of job? We already started out wrong. God no. There's going to be a lot in this story. I can see it. Oh, this is going to be a long, long ride. I hope you guys are ready for it. Okay, I'll see you guys in part 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll try and create a playlist for those that will not start off immediately. But of course, it's going to be what I'll be posting for until we finish it. So we've started it. We have to finish it.
Okay, part 2 of how I married a man that didn't exist. So, ending off last video, I am for the underdog. I love to hear a story of how someone has struggled and they came out of that better. So, everything was sounding good at this point. We had been communicating every day, and we started video calling. Like I said, he was very charming, very flattering. He was saying all the things that I wanted to hear that I didn't know that I needed.
And that's the thing, people like this because they are just performing. They have it down to the T. They will say the nice words. They are very good at studying people. They will study you to know the kind of things you like, what tickles you. That's what they'll be supplying you with. In your head, you're thinking you finally hit the jackpot. Hey, but then what can people be nice like that? Like genuinely study people and treat them how they want to be treated. Let's why will not do that?
To hear. And at the time, obviously, I didn't know that this script was formulated specifically for me, that the things that were being said were to move me in a position of where he needed me to be, where he wanted me to be. He was constantly calling me beautiful. He was constantly saying that he thought that I was just gorgeous and he couldn't wait to meet me. That he liked bigger girls, that didn't bother him. I mean, and he was a bigger guy. It wasn't like anything, crazy. But of course, as someone who has self-esteem issues, hearing these things sounded really, really good. So we then started video chatting every night. So he video chatted me from a car the very first time we chatted. And it was a normal conversation. It was good. It was the first time we had interacted face to face. And it was like the charm that he had over the text messages just translated into that like real interaction. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this seems too good to be true. Like he seems really into me. We were talking about making plans about meeting in person. So he was video chatting me from the car, and at that point, once again, he owned his own home. He was telling me that he did have 2 roommates. We will call them K and T, 1 male, 1 female, and that K and T.
Hold on. Somebody that built or bought a house for his mother. He has his own house, he has car. He has this. Why is he having roommates? Because I know in America, if somebody's having roommates, that means cash is not so easy to come by. They don't have roommates because it's just for the fun of it. Or majority fish, guys. Am I the one overthinking?
Were together. They were a couple. So he was talking about how they all go out together with his friends, and they go ATV riding. He had sent me some videos of the ATVs and riding through, the fields or the woods or whatever. And we had made plans for me to go over there and go ATV riding with him and a group of his friends. He had shown me pictures of his dogs. There were 2. He had shown me a picture of his vehicles. He had shown me the outside of his house. He had flipped the camera around and he showed me the house. And the car he was sitting.
What if he went to an environment? Because she's sure a very fine house, but
Again, was a really nice car. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a nice car. So I'm like, these are the things that made my mind at ease. I'm like, oh, he's telling the truth. Look, he is in front of this house that's obviously his. He is riding ATVs with these friends. He has sent me a picture of this truck he owns. He's sitting in a nice car. Like, okay, this is starting to feel more legit. So we had talked a lot about his time in prison. After he did tell me, because the name he had on his Facebook dating profile was not his full name. So it had his first name and last name, but the last name he had on Facebook dating was actually his middle name. He did eventually tell me his last name, and he said that the reason why he did not have his real last name on his Facebook page, because we eventually became Facebook friends, was that he had done that to protect his sobriety so that his old dealers couldn't find him, so that he could just not be found by people he didn't want to be found by.
That's fishy already. That's somebody running from something.
So I looked him up. I did a background check or a Google search, whatever. I think that all of us ladies would do that at this point in 2025. And I found the records, I found the mugshots, I found the posts, I found just an abundance of things. And it tracked. All the things that I found online matched what he told me he had gone to prison for. And I'm like, okay, he was honest. You know, that took a lot of courage, because he could have lied about going to prison and me not find that out until later, or maybe never found out. So I was building this trust, is the point of that tidbit. I was building this trust within him, and I was excited about going ATV riding with him and his friends. Like I said, we had made the plan for me to come over for the first meeting because we wanted to do the ATV riding in the group. And then the next time he would possibly come over to Fort Lauderdale and we would go on a date there. And it was an expectation, or an understanding rather, that when I came over, because it was about a 3-hour trip, that I would be staying at his house. So I know all the red flag girlies are like, girl, this should have been like, you shouldn't have even agreed to that. Like, why would you do that? My mind was not in that place at this time. My mind was in the place of, what he's saying is checking out. I'm seeing these things with my own eyes. I'm building trust. So as time passes, we're video calling more and more. It's every day. We're texting pretty consistently throughout the day. There are not a lot of gaps in between. We're getting to know each other. And of course, at this time, he's getting to know me. He's getting to know my hopes, my dreams, what I'm afraid of, my past relationships, the ways I've been hurt, the things that I've gone through. He's gathering all.
Telling him the way you've been hurt, the what you've been through, who you are. Giving him more ammunition. Yeah. He will be just jubilating and getting more.
All this information, and he's once again charming and saying the right things. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you went through that. I'm so sorry. I would never treat you like that. I have been devastated after the passing of my wife. I want to find something real. You know, I have these girls to take care of, and I want a mother figure for them eventually. You know, it was very hard on them when they lost their mother, and they need someone in their life that's going to love them and care for them, and not only just for me. So my heart was singing, and he knew that at this point I had shared, you know, what I wanted out of life. As wildly independent as I am, and as a person who doesn't need someone else to take care of her, and who's very actively in a career, my dream is to be a wife and a mother. That is truly what I want, and it's what I have wanted for a very long time. And then to top that all off, the kids were just an added bonus. He knew I loved kids, that I wanted kids. I had a miscarriage in 2020. I lost a baby, and that was something I revealed to him as just a really deep source of pain for me. And he started making hints of, you know, he thinks that the girls would get along good with me, that he thinks we would interact well, that he could see us, you know, getting along and forming a relationship. So that was also something that was then spinning in my mind. I'm in Florida. I am without my family. All of my family's back in North Carolina. I'm alone. I'm lonely. I lost a baby a few years ago, and my dream to have a family just didn't seem like it was going to come into fruition at this point. So then here this situation comes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I might finally have my chance to fulfill my dreams, to be who I want to be, to do the things I want to do. So he would FaceTime me from the inside of the house sometimes, and I started noticing the calls became a little shorter and shorter. We would not stay on video for longer than 15 minutes at a time. Sometimes that would be less and less, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, just a couple minutes. I remember vividly one call where he started kind of yelling in the background, and he goes, babe, I gotta go, the girls are fighting, I have to get them dinner, I have to make sure they're okay. And I'm like, of course, go take care of the girls. You know, I didn't think anything of that. You know, he is a single father, he has his children, he owns his own home, he has a family to run. Let's go into part 3.
Yeah, I think we're beginning to get into the heat of the matter. The man is good.
I literally just recorded part 3 twice. Oh, and as I'm going to edit it, it just deletes. It's gone. So take 3 of part 3 of how I married a man that didn't exist. So the next day, we're talking as normal, and we're talking about making the solid plan for me to come up, do the ATV riding, and to hang out with him and his friends for our first meeting. Something had happened, something had come up where that fell through. I'm not sure what it was. I don't remember. I think there may have been something with the roommates that had happened. He said that's just not a viable option anymore. So we had talked about him coming to Fort Lauderdale to see me instead, but something in me was like, I don't think I want him to know where I live yet. I don't want him to come over here.
Good.
And I wish that I would have had that protective factor during the entire ordeal. So he said, wait, I have an idea. Mind you, when I was going to be coming, it was going to be Father's Day weekend. So he said, why don't you come to my mom's house? I'll come over with the girls, and we can spend the night and the day over there. And we'll do something for Father's Day with the girls. And I'm like,
why are they going to the mother's house? What happened to his own house where the girls are? It doesn't even make sense. So I'm just meeting you. We've not even seen ourselves. Then we're not going to your mother's house. Who does that?
I don't know about that. Like, it's your mom's house. The girls, you're okay with me just meeting them like that. You know, they lost their mom. I don't know if I want to be someone that comes into their life, and if this doesn't work out, just leave. He goes, no, it's okay. I've already talked to my mom about you. I ran the idea by her. She says that that's okay. She's welcoming you into her home. And as far as the girls, you know, we will not be affectionate with each other while you're here. And I'll just say that you're a friend coming over to visit and to hang out. And I just accepted that. I was like, you know what? Okay, that's fine. Mind you, in part one, I said, I'm going to tell the parts of the story where I looked bad, where I looked naive, where I looked stupid. And during these beginning parts, there's going to be a lot of that, because you on the other end are screaming at me to not do this. I know you are, because now looking back, I'm screaming at myself. My hair's weird, sorry. So the day comes where I'm supposed to be going to visit. I pack my bag. I'm super excited. I'm really nervous the entire trip. I had knots in my stomach. I was nauseous. He's texting and calling. I can't wait to see you. I'm so glad you're coming. Don't be nervous. Everything's going to be okay. As soon as I pull up to the house, he's sitting on the porch, and he comes out to greet me at my car. And he immediately wraps his arms around me and gives me a hug, and I just melted. And the only way I can describe that feeling is it was literal fireworks. Ooh. I now know that was the common sense leaving my body. So he kissed me, and it was just a peck on the lips. It was nothing.
Oh my god. I love that.
Nothing crazy. He grabs my bag and we go inside. So both of his daughters are in there. One of his daughters is at a friend's house for the week and the weekend, so I wouldn't get to meet her during this trip, but I met the oldest and I met the youngest. So they are sitting on the couch. The oldest is
3 daughters, and he still have the mind to be scamming somebody, a girl like that. Is he not afraid that his daughters too get scammed? Well, people like that don't think that far.
Furthest from me, the youngest, kind of comes up and greets me. They have really cool colored hair. It's like blue and pink and red. So I compliment them on their hair. And the older girl was really standoffish. But the younger girl, she was just so enthusiastic and so sweet. And she looks up at me and she goes, "Oh my God, you're so pretty." And of course my heart melts. Like, girlies, y'all know, if a little girl comes up to y'all and they're like, "You're so pretty," like, your heart just explodes.
Guys, hope that's not part of the scripts. I don't trust people like that.
So I told her how much I loved her hair and that she was so beautiful. We start talking. I sit on the couch and I'm still super nervous. I'm like sitting on the edge of the couch. I'm fidgeting with my hands. I'm like still. So he grabs my hand and he's like, "Relax, everything's okay." So the cup from the last video, remember that? He has this same exact cup. I really didn't think about it at the time, but it was literally the same exact cup. I'm like, damn, like, you travel with your own cup to your mom's house. I'm sure she has cups. So I'm sitting there talking to the
Oh.
oldest girl, and he gets up and he fills his cup with something. I wasn't monitoring it. He's getting up to get a drink. So whatever he's drinking, he's sipping on, but it's consistent. So not too much longer after that, he gets up and he fixes himself another drink. And I don't know if I stood up or if I just kind of looked over there, because I didn't see him open the fridge or get any water out of the door of the fridge. And I see a big bottle of Fireball alcohol, and he's pouring it in his cup hot, which is diabolical in itself, and he's sipping on that. So at that point, I feel like I had a few questions, because we had talked about addiction, substance use, and he had established he was sober. And he goes, no, listen, it's okay. It's the weekend, we're relaxing, we're having a good time, I'm just having a couple drinks. He goes, I haven't had my drug of choice, the substances I used to use, in my active addiction in a very, very long time. He goes, occasionally I drink, but it's just a few drinks. This is not an everyday thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop here. As a substance abuse counselor, this is the moment I should have known better. I'm not going to get into the definition of sobriety, of recovery, of addiction. I'm not getting into that conversation here. Sobriety means different things for different people. Generally, sobriety is when you are abstinent from all substances, drugs, alcohol, everything. I have known people in recovery and sobriety that have chosen to drink in moderation if alcohol wasn't their initial drug of choice. Like I said, I'm not getting into that, but I have known people who have done this. So I'm like, okay, well, he's been sober for 2 years. He is having a couple drinks. He's not inebriated. He's not drunk and acting out. It's okay. So then his mom gets home, and she walks through the door, and she has a look on her face. I'm talking a look, and I'm like, oh my God, I am unwelcome here.
What if he didn't even tell his mom anything? Or because of the kind of lifetime he must be living, the mother might not even be in good terms with him. It's possible that that's the mother's house. He doesn't seem to be the type that has enough going. Probably his mom is not happy with the life he's living, bringing a girl to her house again. There's no mother that will welcome that. It's possible that the mother told him not to bring her to the house, and he didn't listen because he's a stubborn goat.
I started like scrambling, like, did she really say it was okay for me to be here? So I immediately go up and I introduce myself and I give her a hug. It's just the type of person I am. And she softens in that moment, like everything's fine. So we're talking a little bit. I'm like, it's so nice to meet you. How are you? I've heard so much about you. And eventually at some point, Rob and one of his daughters falls asleep on the couch together. So her and I are talking. She was going to make dinner. She was making meatloaf, mashed potatoes, the whole nine, because I was coming. So I felt super honored. And it sounded really nice because I'm a single person living alone. I don't cook for myself most of the time because it's more hassle than it's worth. And I miss my family. So having like a home cooked meal just really sounded amazing. Well, it turns out she had forgotten something, or she didn't have something she needed. So I offered to go to the store, and she goes, no, like, you don't have to do that. He's asleep. He's not going to he's not waking up to take you, pretty much. You don't have to do that. You don't know your way around the area. The area, sorry. So I said, no, it's okay. I insist. So I ran to the store and I got what she needed, and that, for whatever reason, that was like a huge gesture for her. The fact that I did that, I wouldn't accept money from her. It was like a few dollars. It was nothing crazy.
It's not about the dollar. See, this is this story. I'm already envisaging the kind of guy, the kind of man, the kind of son he is to the mother. So the mother will be surprised that his son is able to pull a well-headed woman like this, that is well behaved, that is appreciative. So I'm thinking that's what is making the mom so appreciative. That it must have been long also that experience that kind of kindness from people, especially somebody that is affiliated with her son. That's the way I'm seeing it. Do you get? Oh, guys, what's that, please?
I got the things, and that blew her away, that I was kind enough to go out in an area I didn't know and go pick something up from the store. I'm like, girl, I have GPS, everything's fine. So dinner is done, and we all sit down to have dinner together, and his youngest daughter at some point had made a note card, put it on one of the chairs at the dinner table next to her, and it said Dad's friend, and it had 2 hearts on it, and she wrote my name on it, and it was colored really pretty, and she made that for me and set it as a placeholder so I'd know where to sit, which was right next to her. And anyone who knows me knows what a sentimental person I am, and that just melted me. I'm like, oh my gosh. So we're all sitting down together, we're laughing, we're talking, the food is delicious, and that was the first moment I sat and I absorbed the feeling that maybe this is somewhere I could belong. The feeling of family, the feeling of togetherness, the feeling of laughing over a meal and being a unit. That's exactly what I felt in that moment. Let's go to part 4. Part 4.
Who knows if that is the style using to lure women in? Listen to her, knowing that she feels lonely and she's longing for something like this. That might have been part of his tactics. The man really got her, like he got her like this. Oof.
Part 4 of How I Married a Man That Didn't Exist. My hair is finally done for the ones who were impressed about the way I was straightening my hair. I can't multitask. I'm over here trying to tell a story and I'm straightening the same strands like a million times. Smoke is coming up. I'm so sorry. It's done now. So we had this beautiful family dinner. Normally the girls had chores and they were responsible for cleaning the dishes after dinner. I washed the dishes. His mom was just insisting that I didn't do that. I grew up in the South, and this is what we do. And I'm sure
Oh, she grew up in the South. So maybe the accent has reduced because she's no more there. I clocked it. Come on.
a lot of other places too. I was raised with manners. My parents were very big on when you're in someone else's home, you treat it like your own home, even better. So I offered to wash the dishes, and I did that. And once again, this was just another big gesture for her, and it was something that I could tell as the evening was going along. She was softening up a little bit more, and she was talking to me more, and things seemed to be going really well. We were having our own private conversations without Rob. After dinner, we're all sitting on the couch, and I'm not sure if we were watching a movie or if we were talking. I know his mother and I were talking quite a bit. She's just, getting the scoop. She's finding out who I am. I'm talking about my family. I'm talking about moving to Florida, my job. And we did talk a lot about my job. Obviously, there is a strong connection here with my career and the things that have been going on in this family. The mother's passing, the children's mother's passing, and Rob's addiction, the mother's addiction, his mother's dealing with all of this. So we were able to connect a lot over that. And I told her a little bit about my story and why I decided to work in addiction in the first place. And this is something Rob and I had talked about in depth in the beginning. And I know I might be rambling in these very first few videos about one event, one day that happened. What I'm trying to do is a lot of character development here, so you get a really good picture of how I felt about these people in the beginning and who they presented to me that they were, and how comfortable I felt. So my sister is an addict. She has been in active addiction for over 20 years. When I was 21 years old, I helped raise my 2 nieces and my nephew. My sister's addiction deeply affected my life, and I had the kids until I moved to Florida, so that was about 5 years. And at some point, I was a single parent of my niece and my nephew, the twins. and I dropped out of college and I quit a job that I loved because I needed to support them. So there was a lot that I missed out on in my early 20s because I was being a mom. And if I had to go back, I'd do it all over again. But it was just very difficult for me. And without getting into a whole lot of my sister's story and mine, because that is not what this is about, I'm just going to say that her addiction and watching that for so many years profoundly affected me, and it caused me a great deal of pain and trauma that I had to work very hard to heal from and to work through, to first of all be a functioning person, and to second of all work in the field of addiction. I would have never been able to do that had I not done the work on myself to heal the wounds I had from my sister's addiction. With that being said, he knew the entire story because I felt it was relevant to tell him that, given his past and given that his wife passed away from an overdose.
She was just giving him more ammunition. Hey.
So we talked a lot about that, and then it came time, it was getting a little later. Let me backtrack. I'm under the impression at this point that his mother, let's call her Emily, owned this house that he bought for her. I then was told that she had roommates living with her because they were in a tough situation and she wanted to help them out. They had 2 young children and the children lived there as well. This was a bigger house. So the woman that lived there with her boyfriend were really old friends of the family. This is not just random people. This is a couple that this family has known for a long time. And then I come to find out a little later on that the woman is actually an ex of Rob's.
Whoa.
That didn't really bother me because it didn't seem to be a big issue. It didn't seem to be some weird situation where they...
Hold on. What did I just hear? Americans, you guys can be so weird. Like, I'm just trying to imagine the picture in my head. It's not even making sense. Nah. Let me not even say
they had something going on still. From everything I gather, he did not like her. And she did not like him, and they feuded a lot. Feuded, is that a word? They fought a lot. So when it came time to kind of wind down for the night, the question of where we were going to sleep came into play. So the couple and the 2 children happened not to be there that night, so we stayed in the spare bedroom where her 2 children slept. Mind you, this is Emily's house, and she told us that we could stay in that room. Nobody was in there. So before we went to bed, we decided to take a shower. And at this point, we talked about the drug test. So I went and I got one out of my car because I traveled with them for work. And he did the drug test in front of me. Like, I'm literally standing there and I watched him do it. It came back all negative. That, in my mind, was just another confirmation of things are okay. Things are going to be fine. Any doubts that I had in that moment just dissipated. Not that there were many to begin with, obviously, because I'm just acting reckless out here. So we end up winding down. We go into the spare bedroom. He pulls the mattresses off the beds because they were like 2 small twin beds. So he put the mattresses on the floor so we could like sleep comfortably, and we slept in that room. It turned out that the woman that was living there with Emily, Rob's mother, had a huge problem with this. She had found out that he had a girl over and that we were sleeping in her children's room, which in my mind, they are guests in this house, and the house is Emily's, and there was nobody occupying that room for the night. So I didn't understand the upset. It became a big issue. This woman was texting Emily saying some like off the wall stuff, very upset, very bothered. I'm like, listen, I'm not here to cause problems. I don't want any drama. I'm sorry if I have offended anyone. Emily and Rob both kind of brushed this off. So we wake up the next day and we had breakfast. The girls had breakfast, and we're just kind of lounging around. It's Father's Day at this point. The girls had made Father's Day cards and gifts for Rob, and we were making a plan as to what we were going to do for the day. Rob decided he wanted to go out to lunch with the girls, his mom and me, and we were going to go do this as a family, and then we would kind of play it by ear from there. We're going to go ahead and stop here, look for part.
I'm having this ugly feeling. What if the woman in question, maybe, what if Bob's wife? Some persons can have a weird family dynamics. A wife is in the house and the man is bringing in women to the house. Ha! Things are happening.
Part 5 of How I Married a Man That Didn't Exist. We ended up deciding going to Culver's for lunch. That's where he wanted to go. That was one of his favorite restaurants, I guess. So we all pack up, and the girls ride in the car. One of the girls rides in the car with Emily.
Imagine them going to his favorite restaurant. What about the person that came all the way to visit you? Shouldn't they be doing something that she likes? Because it's her first time there. I'm just thinking out loud.
And me, Rob, and his other daughter are in his car. So we all go to the restaurant together. We go in, we order our food, we're sitting down. I had dressed really cute. I had put my hair in space buns, and he just threw a fit over that. He loved that. I don't know. He just really liked the space buns. That's going to be relevant later.
Oh.
And to add a part that I forgot to mention in the last video, the night before Father's Day, before we went to bed, he did ask me to be his girlfriend, and I accepted. So at this point, we have decided we are...
Hold on. I want to understand something. So, they were not yet dating, and she left her state to go and visit him. They were not boyfriend and girlfriend at that time. No, this one I will not understand. No. Don't tell me, oh, you are living in the past. I will never understand this one. No.
Going to be dating. We're a couple, and we're going to be exclusive. So we are now sitting and we're having lunch together, and it's the same scene from dinner, just a different day. We're laughing. The girls are talking and saying silly things, and it's just fun. And I look at Rob and I look at Emily, and it was another one of those moments, and I reference this in my book, but that was another moment that I sat back, and it was almost like everything was going in slow motion. I was absorbing the moment, and I took a deep breath, and it was like, wow, I feel like maybe I found my place. I feel like I found people who will love me and that I can love, and I feel like I have found a family that I can be part of. And this was a very, very big moment for me, based off of what I said in previous videos about what I wanted for my life and what I thought I may never have. This was the turning moment where I felt like, had I not had this moment and this epiphany and feeling that I had that was so intense, I may not have pushed through what's coming next as much, or even if at all. I tend to lead by my heart, not my head, and this was one of those moments where it got me in trouble and just kept me stagnant in a series of very weird, unfortunate events. After lunch, me, Rob, and one of the daughters went back to his car. He was having a lot of heartburn at this time. Like, he just really wasn't feeling good. So we ended up going by CVS, and I ran in the store and I got some Prilosec. And I came back out and I insisted on getting this medication for him. So this was once again another gesture of like, wow, you really didn't have to do that. And he was very, very grateful and thankful for that, and his mom was too. So I got him the medicine, and We ended up going back to the house. We dropped the girls off, and a little bit later on, we decided we were going to go for a ride, just us. So we got into his car, and this is another good time to mention that gray cup that has come into play in the previous videos. This gray cup that he had that I didn't know what he was drinking, and then I saw that he was filling it with Fireball alcohol and sipping on that consistently. That didn't stop. So he had this cup with him, and he is drinking Fireball. We're in the car. He's driving. This is another moment I know you're screaming at me. I should have not gotten in that car. I should have said, you've been drinking. I don't feel comfortable riding around with you. I didn't do that. I saw that he was physically okay. He was not drunk in any way. He was not slurring his speech. He was acting completely normal. So I did get in the car and we went for a ride. Even though he was drinking, he didn't wear his seatbelt. He drove erratically and fast. I would come to find out that that was just his norm. There are a few other driving stories we'll get into later. So he's driving me around town. He's showing me things in the town. I have never been over to this part of Florida before. He drives past one of the first apartments that he and his wife had together. I didn't find this weird. This is a grieving husband who lost someone that he loved very much, that he had literal children with. And if I'm nothing else, I'm respectful. So we did that, and then we went by the high school. So we kind of pulled into like the side of the road. It's gated off. We didn't go in. And he was like, this is the high school I graduated from, and this is where my daughter goes. Or this is where my daughter will go, because his oldest daughter wasn't yet in high school. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then it dawned on me, and I didn't say anything in the moment. I was like, his daughter goes to this school, but he lives almost an hour away, and he has the kids. So how is his daughter coming to this school?
That must have been a slip up from him. And this is why I said, people say there's always a sign, just that we don't pay so much attention. People that lie, they tend to slip up too, because if we're paying attention. But in her case, she was clouded with so much emotion because she saw a picture of what she has been longing for. I guess that has been clouded, and she is refusing her to see any other thing. I don't know if you guys get my point.
Is he bringing her down here? Is the grandma going to pick her up in the morning and taking her? I wasn't 100% sure. And I believe in that moment I did ask about that, and he said that he drove the kids down to school every day. So we ended up going back to the house, and it's just a very chill night. He is continuously drinking. It hasn't stopped. He is napping a lot. He's falling asleep a lot. The first day, I thought he was just tired. The second day, I don't know if I realized, or maybe it's just me now remembering, that it was because he was drinking so much. And I didn't realize he was drinking so much at that time, because it was in that small cup, and I didn't see every single time he went up to the alcohol bottle. So me and his two daughters, we play a game. I don't remember what the game was. Categories maybe. Anyway, we're having a good time. I don't know why I can't speak right now. We're having a great time, and we're laughing, and I realize his oldest daughter is funny as shit. Like, this girl is saying some off-the-wall, unhinged stuff, some answers to these questions, and we are dying laughing. And I look over, and I see him staring at me, and he's smiling. And that gesture right there just once again melted me. I'm like, this is a place I could be. After that, I'm sitting on the couch, and his youngest daughter comes up to me with a box full of hair bows and things, and she wants me to braid her hair. So I'm sitting there, and I'm French braiding her hair, and that same moment happens again. He's looking at me, and he smiles, and then he grabs my hand just very lovingly. And my heart is just exploding. I'm like, man, like, this is really doing me in. I wasn't supposed to be staying another night. It was going to be a one-night thing. I was having such a great time. I did not want to go home yet. So we decided I was going to stay another night. This was Sunday night at this point, and his mom was completely on board with that. I actually ended up cooking dinner the second night. I made homemade Alfredo for everyone. That's just how comfortable I was. I'm literally cooking in someone else's kitchen. I'm super comfortable. At this point, the roommates come back, and I come face to face with this woman. She walks in, and it was as if all hell had broken loose. She was pissed. She never addressed me directly, but there was a fight. There was an argument. There was slamming doors. She refused to sleep in the house that night, and she went out and she stayed in her car because I was there. I'm upset because I'm like, what have I done? Like, I haven't done anything. I feel so terrible that my presence has triggered her so greatly. I didn't understand why. I'm like, if she would just talk to me, I would introduce myself, and like, maybe we can be friends. Maybe we can have a conversation. I didn't understand. So Rob and his mother are brushing this off. She acts like this all the time. She has an attitude. You're doing nothing wrong. We have invited you here. You are more than welcome to stay here. We want you here. She just is being out of line. All right, let's.
That kind of attitude would have warranted you to start. Well, of course, if she asked, they wouldn't have answered her, but it would have piqued her interest. Because why would that woman be behaving like that? She's just a guest that the family is helping her. Why would she be giving attitude to a guest, another guest? It's not right. Hmm? Oh, she's a scorned woman, jealous woman. So something is obviously happening to. Who knows? Oh, what if she's the mother of those children?
6 of how I married a man that didn't exist. Things seemed to kind of settle down. She was still in and out slamming doors and just major attitude. I was extremely uncomfortable. I was like, maybe I should go home. Rob and his mom were very adamant that I shouldn't, that first of all, it's late, that I'm welcome there, and this is just a her problem. So she goes outside and she stays in the car for a bit. Her boyfriend, however, did come out, and he did speak to me, and he was very, very nice. I don't think the kids were back yet.
Wait, so the woman has a boy? Yeah, I remember. There's a boyfriend. She has a boyfriend. So why is she giving attitude like this? Or is this a case of an ex that is just staying close to mark her territory in case if something happens and she's keeping a man close, let it look like if she's not desperate for the man? I will never understand how people, and why she's living with them to start with. Unless if that's her family house, she's the one housing them. That's another possibility.
I don't remember. I don't remember if her kids were back and they were back in that room or what. They must have been, because we did not sleep in the room that night. At this point, he has once again fallen asleep on the couch. So he and his mother and I were talking, and somehow we just got onto the subject of maybe the kids. And because I noticed, and I didn't mention this before, the girls wanted to show me their space, their room. So when I was looking the previous day, I noticed these rooms were fully done up. Like, there were beds in there were just a large amount of decorations, there were dressers with clothes, like, it was lived in. So I asked her how often the kids come to visit. And that's when she tells me that they don't visit. The kids live there with her. So I'm like, hold your horses, ma'am. I said, what do you mean they live here with you? They live in where, I'm not going to say the specific areas, but they live over there with him. I was FaceTiming him one night, and, the kids were fighting, and he had to break up the fight and go cook dinner and this, that, and the third. And she goes, no, the kids live with me. So I was super confused, and I was like, do they ever go up there with him? And she said they've gone up there maybe twice the entire time. I'm like, wow, okay. So we got on the subject of her having the kids. Not only did she have custody of the kids for a long time, She has adopted them. They are legally adopted by her at this point. So
Whoa.
we got into the conversation of how.
And what is that telling you? That the man is a useless somebody. They cannot even be a father. That his mother has to adopt his children. Meanwhile, he's there. Hey.
that happened. So we went back quite a while to how their mother was in active addiction. Her and Rob together were in active addiction, and that things were just getting worse. And one night their mother had the girls, and she was at a Publix, and she was having a breakdown, and she had threatened to, I don't know how to say this, I don't even know if TikTok will ban me, threatened to unalive herself. So this was obviously a very big deal. She got Baker acted, which if you're not in Florida, that is like a psychiatric called the police or the paramedics will come get you. Normally the police, they take you to the closest psychiatric unit at a hospital. They do evaluations. They hold you for at least 72 hours. So at that point, Emily took the kids, and I'm not sure if they ever went back after that. Wow. Their mother, let's call her Jay, eventually did get out, but the active addiction got worse for both of them. So she then told me the story of how their mother, Jay, went to rehab in Miami. There was some mishap with some money. They had sent money to an aunt or a family member in Miami to send her to treatment, and the aunt never paid the rehab, so Jay could not go. Or she did go and she had to leave early. I'm still not clear on this story. There are a lot of missing pieces. At that point, Jay was at a gas station and she was homeless at this point. I'm not sure what the barrier was to getting her back on this coast. I don't know what the issue was, but she was sleeping behind the gas station for an undisclosed amount of time. And that is when she overdosed on fentanyl and she passed away. When Rob got the call that Jay had passed away, this is according to Emily, he was devastated and distraught. And he was just not okay. Imaginably so. His wife had just passed away. So we kind of get away from that story a little bit. And we were talking about him going to prison. One thing I did not mention in the last video, when we were at the high school, I had made some kind of comment, I'm not 100% sure, but he had made sure to let me know that he had gotten a bachelor's degree in psychology when he was doing his time in prison. At that time, I did not have reason to doubt that. Can you get degrees in prison? I don't know. I was just ignorant to the way.
How does one get degree in a prison? Oh, it's America. Maybe it's possible in America.
That works. And once again, at that point, why would he lie to me about something like this? Like, would be pretty extensive. So I brought that up, and his mother told me that also was not true, that he hadn't even graduated high school. Whoa. Now, if you go back to the previous video, and I started laughing when I said he took me to the high school he said he graduated from, that's why I was laughing. Because not only did you take me to this high school, you told me you graduated from it. Like, that was you drove me to a place that turned out to be false. So at this point, I am baffled. She did say after he got out of prison, he went to a 12-month faith-based sobriety program, and he stayed for about 3 months. He did not stay for the full time. He ended up meeting someone, and he left the
He's not used to finishing, so he cannot finish that too.
Program, and he did tell me this prior as well, that he had met this person, that she was a bit younger than him, like nothing crazy, but a bit younger than him, and he was just infatuated, and they just started off really intense, and he went to live with her, and he was never 100% clear on.
He went to live with her. I think this is common in America. The men are the one going to live with the women. Why do people do that? It's supposed to be the other way around. Why should I have to be the one housing you as a man?
What happened, but he did say there was a fight. She had been doing some things that he didn't agree with. She had made some accusations against him, and she woke him up at like 4 o'clock one morning and kicked him out. He never really told me where he went after that. So, in my mind, I guess I'm assuming he went back to his home that he owns, right? So, I'm almost positive at this point, too, I asked about that as well. I said, he told me that he owns this home over here, and that he owns this vehicle and this vehicle. He showed me pictures. These are the dogs, and that he bought this home for you. She tells me once again, this is not true. None of it. He does not own that home. He does not even lease that home. He was living with the roommates, remember, K and T. That was real. Maybe not T, but K was. And that he had been rooming there. He was renting a room, is what I was told. And he would leave from there and go to work every morning. And that Emily, his mother, was renting the home that we were currently in. He had not bought a property. He had not bought a home for his mother. She was renting from landlords. Whoa. So my mind is kind of spinning at this point, and let me start.
Well, see, honestly, I'm not surprised because we saw it coming. Come on, guys. I'm not
surprised. Right here again and say, I know you're screaming at me. I know you're saying, girl, like, why didn't you get your shit and leave right then?
Yeah.
I don't have an answer for you. Because I had all these warm and fuzzy feelings over this weekend. I had interacted with his children. I had bonded with his mother.
Hold on. What kind of warm, fuzzy, whatever feeling will make you downplay what you just heard from his mother? No. May that kind of love.
He had asked me to be his girlfriend. I wanted to hear his story before I made any decisions. So he ended up waking up, and I pulled him outside on the lanai, which that's a new word for me. Apparently that means porch here in Florida. And I told him, you know, your mother and I had a really good conversation, but there are some things that are concerning me. X, Y, and Z, you said, turns out not to be true, and she has confirmed that these things are not true. I need you to tell me what's going on and why you said these things to me. All right, part 7.
Guys, I will never understand why people always screaming, oh, I need closure so I can hear. See, it's not in every case that you need closure. We don't even need any closure. Move on. This kind of thing. We're all different. There's where you can ask, but even no matter what it tells, you should not even change it because the mother will not have any reason to be lying. Besides, she said the guy has been dropping little hints. The story the mother told her should have solidified all the little hints she's been getting. But once again, like she said, she was clouded by the emotions, by fuzzy or what she said, fuzzy feeling. Yeah, see you guys in part 7, I think. Yeah, part 7. Like and subscribe. Let me show you guys this handcrafted tie and dye shirts. It's so lovely. It's one of my favorite thing. Let me show you another. So this comes in blue and white.